Comics Plus, what is going on? My name is Aka-san. Just got off of work a while. I got a little break here, so I wanted to take time for you to talk to you about Spider-Man No Way Home, baby. We're going to be talking to spoiler chat here, so again, warning, spoiler alert, okay? This is it. I wanted to give you guys the discussion of the century, of the biggest movie of the year, my friends. Yes, you're probably wondering, why is this man taking his clothes off? Well, it's spider time. Anyways, this is so silly. Alright. I remember I did a video like this a while back where I was changing to do something like this, but somebody was like, yo, they were like, why is this nigga taking his clothes off in front of me? It's spider time, y'all. Alright, so here's what I gotta talk to you guys about Spider-Man. It definitely delivered. It definitely delivered. I love the movie. I had a few days now to kind of sit and just let the nostalgia sort of wear off, and I definitely want to rewatch this movie again. That is for damn sure. I need to rewatch this movie again, mainly because where I watched it, the audio was so low that anytime there was a huge pop, cheer from the crowd, I couldn't hear anything else in the rest of the movie. So for example, I have no idea why exactly Tom's Spidey was absolved from the charges and everything, because the moment Matt Murdock showed up, people lost their goddamn mind. That was probably the biggest moment in the the biggest pop early on in the movie. And people were screaming so loud for a good 30-something, 40-something seconds. I have no idea why Tom Spidey was absolved of any of the charges. All I know is that Happy was kind of handled or whatever, right? Anyways, so I don't know what happened, but at least we got that dope grab there. And there was a few other issues as well. I couldn't understand what Venom was saying at all. I was like, because everybody was screaming like crazy, so I had no idea. All I knew is that Venom got drunk the entire movie and disappeared and jizzed on a table, and now we have Venom in the MCU, literally, right? Now, let me talk about, I guess, going into this movie, the concept, without spoiling. You know, we didn't know what was going to happen. We just heard rumor, right? We didn't know that. We all assumed that all three Spider-Men were going to be in this movie. But just from the marketing perspective of it just being the villains, I thought that was really handled extremely well. I thought that was done really well. And I thought the fact that they had Doc Ock in there, they had the Lizard, like, I was just surprised alone about how well they treated all of the villains. I didn't know that they were even going to utilize Lizard to that full potential. I honestly thought that they could have just they could have just given us digital versions of everybody the entire movie. But the fact that they were able to bring in the original actors from both the Amazing Spider-Man movies and the Spider-Man movies to reprise their role, and they looked great. I forget the name of the guy who plays Sandman and the guy who plays Lizard, but I honestly thought that they were just going to supply their voice and that was it. Nah, they were actually in the movie. I thought that was really, really cool. It felt really full-fledged because we have seen other movies. I'm trying to remember. It definitely was a Marvel movie. Oh, Shang-Chi. You know, we had the Abomination come back, but obviously the original dude didn't come back. He had nothing to do with it, right? So I thought that they did a very, very good job of bringing those people back in to lend their voices, reprise their roles. Great job. It was recycled footage? I wasn't aware of that. Even better. The fact that I didn't know it was recycled footage was even more convincing. But I'm assuming that they at least came in and did their voice, right? So, but I thought it was great. They did a great job. The fact that they reused it in such a way that it felt new, and it could have fooled me. The great job on Sony's side. I like the fact that Doc Ock came in and was doing his thing. The fact that the AI, the Tony Stark sort of AI, Veronica or whatever you want to call it, controlled the arms. That was a cool little twist because, you know, they could have played it safe. I will give credit where credit is due. We could have really had the entire movie told to us via the trailers, but the trailers were cut enough in a certain way that, yes, a good amount of the movie was still told, but we didn't exactly know the how and why certain things got to a certain way. I didn't realize that Tom Spidey was going to be able to control Doc Ock's arms for the majority of the movie, and I thought that was really cool. I didn't know that they were going to bring back the inhibitor chip, and I'm glad that I rewatched the original Spider-Man movies a few days beforehand because it's been 20 years since then. So, I thought that was really well done. The black woman on the freeway, you know, I just thought it was like a time freeze or something like that. I didn't know that had to do with the whole admission situation. And that's the other thing I will point out a lot is the fact that I really appreciated that this really was a continuation of Far From Home. This was still Tom Holland's movie through and through. The same way where Captain America 3 was somewhat of a Avengers 2.5 movie. Through and through, it still was a Captain America movie. And I think that's what I liked the most about this particular movie, about No Way Home, was the fact that this still was seeing a full growth of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He is introduced to us in Civil War, but we really do see him as a kid in Homecoming. But by the end of No Way Home, he's a full-blown man. He made a grown man decision. And I will always respect this particular character for pulling a move like that. At the end of the day, when he made that sacrificial play, as Captain America would have, he chose the greater good and the safer good for the people he loves. Like that was amazing. Some people would disagree with that. Some people would argue with that. I know DC Son didn't like that idea. He'd say, no, they should be together, blah, blah, blah. There's no doubt in my mind that eventually down the line, not to be no puns with Flashpoint, but love will find a way. Zendaya is that lightning rod. They are going to be together eventually down the line. But I love this idea that, you know, he made a grown ass move, and I think Tom Holland's Spider-Man does not get enough credit. The entire trilogy, every movie that he did, he made some grown ass moves. The first movie was denying Tony Stark the Iron Spider costume, and you know, Stark said he made a grown move, right? The second movie was blowing up all of Eden's project, all of that, being like, you know what, we got it, we made this happen, we fixed this, we're good, right? And then still making he's made some big sacrifices, but nothing as big as what he did at the end of No Way Home, and I thought that was really well done. The thing with the Band-Aid and all of that, just looking and being, you know what? That's, honestly speaking, that's not just a grown-ass move, that's a Batman move right there. I will never forget Batman, Kevin Conroy, saying, I'm willing to put my life on the line, but it can't be anybody else's, no one else's. I like that, because that used to bother me a little bit about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, is the fact that this dude's got the Avengers, he's got Doctor Strange, he's got people in his corner, everybody, he's got Aunt May, everybody, like, and nobody is dying. Like, nobody is dying here. Nobody even got close to dying half of these times, right? So it's quite interesting. So I'm down with him making a difficult choice here, and I love it. I hate the fact that he's broke, that he's poor. He doesn't have like the support. He doesn't have an Uncle Ben. He doesn't have a Aunt May anymore. But I cannot wait to see what happens. What's gonna grow out of this. And personally, and well, I'll get to that in just a little bit because we're already on 10 minutes here. Let's talk about Spider-Man, all the Spider-Man coming back. Obviously, the hugest pops in the movie. It was great. I definitely liked Andrew coming back a lot more than Tobey. I'm not taking anything away from Tobey's Spider-Man or his Peter Parker. But I liked him being around there. But Andrew stole the show. Andrew was acting his ass off. Andrew was acting like he's auditioning for another Spider-Man movie. Like he's like, yo, Sony, give me another chance. Let's make another movie. I feel like Andrew knew exactly what he was doing. Like, yo, I'm auditioning my ass off so I can be part of the new MCU, whatever, the Sony Spider-Man Venom verse, whatever the hell they got going on there. And you know what? I would love to see that. I would love to see Andrew Garfield come back. I would love to see, I personally believe that Tom Holland needs to take a break, a mental break. This dude has been in our lives as Spider-Man for a good 8 years now, I believe. I don't know. Somebody look up when Civil War came out. This dude has been pumping out Spider-Man movies left and right. And he's been talking about how in interviews that he's mentally exhausted. He's throwing up in the back, in the red rooms and all that. Give this man a break. Give this man a break. Give Tom Holland a break because he's well deserved it. He's well deserved this roller coaster that he's been on as Spider-Man. And personally speaking, where it's been about 6 years. Okay. Where his story is right now would be the perfect time to give a break. Let this dude grow up. Do a little bit of time skipping. Honestly, taking a year break, a 2-year break from Mary Jane and Ned, and just seeing him grow, and we get that little time jump of him basically being basically a man, a very young man, not a kid, but a young man, and we see him again in a few years. We'll be like, okay, we can really feel like time has passed. You know what I mean? I would love to see something like that. And in between that time, give us Andrew Garfield. Give us Andrew Garfield, Amazing Spider-Man 3, but particularly, and this is very important, I need him in that Venom verse. I need him in whatever the hell they're creating with Morbius. Oh shit, how do we explain the Vulture? Well, maybe we just get another Vulture. I don't know. All I'm saying is, like, whatever Sony is trying to do right now, include Andrew Garfield in there. Give us the Amazing Spider-Man 3, because I need more of that. I need more. I feel like now, especially after No Way Home, he's the only Spider-Man that really didn't get, like, a good redemption arc, so to speak. Like, and that was great. I love the banter between all three of the Spider-Men, but I will say that, and this is just a slight critique, is the fact that I will say that this is definitely, Sony has got to be one of the luckiest companies for buying the rights to Spider-Man back in the 90s, because they're not even trying to make a good script. I personally feel like there's script writing. I know that Marvel Studios was involved a lot in this, but I feel like anything Spider-Man related that comes from Sony is not necessarily the best writing out there, but they're just sometimes they just let it run on autopilot and just giving the fans kind of what they want, and it's kind of corny. I really wonder if going back and rewatching this 5 years from now, if we're gonna be like, was this a good script, or was this just banking on nostalgia and such, some of those lines that they were dropping in there every once in a while, I'm like, okay, at the moment it felt great to hear it, but then going back and rewatching it maybe 10 years from now, I'll be like, oh, okay, this was kind of corny for them to keep doing that. So that whole banter between all the Spider-Men and then all the Peters pointing at each other, you know, it'll be very interesting to see down the line if it's gonna hold up to the same sort of level. You know what I mean? The same way as Shuri saying, "What are those?" when that was already like 2 years too late. But because it was just happened to be in the Black Panther movie, it was like, all right, it's fine. We'll go with it. Or I'm the Juggernaut bitch that was thrown into X-Men 3. At the moment seeing it, it was pretty funny. But rewatching it, you're like, ugh. So sometimes I felt like they were going a little too meta sometimes with some of the jokes and having all the multiverse people kind of talking to each other. When the villains were kind of talking with each other, I'm like, damn, okay, it's a little too much sometimes. And I will have to see how I feel about it rewatching it again. It was interesting. It was very interesting to see that sometimes. Sometimes I would have liked the Spider-Man to have kept their mask on when talking to each other, but I also understand one of the reasons why it wouldn't have made as much sense. Like, when you have the Ninja Turtles fighting and talking to each other, you can see their mouths moving. They all have very different personalities, so you can understand who is talking to who, right? Or like Power Rangers, so for example, right? But when all the Spider-Men have their mask on, at times, it was kind of hard to tell who was who. Because unless one is like completely a different color, you're just like, wait, okay, wait, that's D'Angelo. Okay, wait, is that Toby? No, oh, once they get closer, you kind of get it, but like, that part was a little funny sometimes, so I kind of get why they had to keep on taking their mask off to have conversations. In the comics, it's a little easier to absorb everything. Wrapping up, some of the big things that I thought was really well hidden was Aunt May dying. And I mentioned this earlier. This movie kind of annoyed me that Tom had so many people in his corner. He had Mary Jane, he had Ned, he had Aunt May, he had Happy. Like, it was like, oh yeah, literally a Scooby-Doo team. You know, and when Aunt May was up here like about to fight the Goblin, I'm like, what are you doing? And then she paid the price for it, right? I like how they faked us out, because that looked like it was a severe injury, you know what I mean? But it does kind of make sense that sometimes when people get in car, there was a very famous model who was hit by a car. She was in a car accident and she got up and walked around, but it wasn't until that adrenaline was gone that she collapsed, and I don't know if she died or not, but so that was a pretty good fake out for this particular situation. I don't know if I felt sad. I don't really felt. I was a little more shocked that they pulled it off. But then I also remembered that this is her fourth movie, and I was like, all right, you know what? If they're not gonna kill Mary Jane, then might as well kill Aunt May. And the fact that they pushed in the with great power comes great responsibility line, it made sense. I'm like, oh shit, okay, I guess now they're gonna kill her. like, okay, so she in turn has essentially become the Uncle Ben of Tom Holland's Spider-Man's universe. And personally for me, that works fine. That works fine. It makes me even more excited to see down the line what is Tom Holland Spider-Man gonna do as a man, because he has nobody. This is, in my recollection, this is the first time I've seen a Spider-Man that doesn't really have some sort of parental guardian or somebody in his corner. He ain't got no Mary Jane, he ain't got no Aunt May, he ain't got no Tony Stark, he doesn't even have Happy anymore at this moment in time. He doesn't have an Uncle Ben. That's pretty wild, dude. He's broke. He's living like a real New York dude now. I'm like, yo, okay, that's pretty rough. So what they did and how they kind of connected everybody, that worked pretty well. I don't know if that was the best way to have everybody be introduced at the same time. Like, I had my recorder, and I think I put it on my Patreon. I recorded, I was like, when all of them were kind of meeting for the first time, I'm like, yo, here we go! And then it's basically everybody crying, right? I was like, oh shit. I guess that's the best. I mean, that is a common way for them all to meet. We still got that dope moment at the end, though, later, when they're all like the spider assemblage. So that's still kind of cool. Yeah. Let me see, right? I don't know what I wrote here. So... Oh. Yeah. So then the spider costume at the end. It's interesting about that because personally, I'm very mixed on it. I thought that was a great choice that he made. It was really sad. It was really bittersweet. But I think this is going to win over so many people because it's like a great reset, to be honest. It's like a crazy reset. And I like it because this satin costume that he had is essentially his influence from meeting Toby and meeting Andrew. That's the way I took it. That's the way I took it, is that he's essentially, in him, you know, I'm just assuming that they talked more off camera, you know what I mean, behind the scenes. They talked more about what it means to be Spider-Man, blah, blah, blah. And so he just was influenced more because those, in some ways, those are his mentors. Those are his guardian angels, so to speak. He knows that now he's not alone. I guess that's a very beautiful way to look at it. Is like, even though he doesn't have any of the parental people I talked about previously, now he knows that he's not alone because there's other Peters fighting the same damn fight that he has fought and will continue to fight, and he knows he's not alone out there. Very similar to the way the Spider-Verse ended with Peter B. Parker and Miles, right? And so by him altering his costume that particular way, that's him constantly remembering that there's other people out there watching him in some way, oh my God, I'm going to tear up just thinking about that. So, woo! That's great, you know? It's great. It's great. I love that. And hopefully the other Spider-Man will also take that sort of story out there as well. Who knows, right? So I like that. I personally I really like the Stark Tech suit because it really looks like Steve Ditko's outfit and all that. So I'm going to miss that outfit. But I'm very excited to see what this new version. I hope they keep the eyes in, though. That's one thing that I thought was one of the best parts about the Stark Tech suits was the lenses. That just added this extra feeling to it. I really liked the eye of the lenses moving. And if I remember from Civil War, he needed some sort of corrective lenses anyways to keep his eyes. So I think gradually, I still think he'll keep tinkering with it and add to it, and we'll see. Now, here's the thing I want to kind of talk about, which I think is very interesting, is like, I feel it's weird because Tom Spidey, the MCU Spidey, doing a swinging away, that whole sequence there, in some ways, I kind of took it, to be honest, I kind of took it as Sony taking claim again. Like, I don't know, I'm wondering what you guys think about it, but I kind of took it as like, yo, this is Sony basically saying, okay, he's kind of back on his own again. He's cut almost all ties with the MCU in some sense. He might still be in the MCU world, but he's kind of his own dude now. Like, there's nothing connected to him in the MCU anymore, in some sense. That's kind of the way I took it, and it was kind of weird because it was kind of like they could literally continue a MCU. They could continue a Tom Holland Spider-Man now, and have almost no mentions to the MCU anymore, because he has no attachment anymore. It's weird how that's kind of the way I kind of took it. Like, if they really wanted to go that particular way, they could go that way, right? But at the same time, like I said earlier, I would love for them to just continue with Venom and Morbius and Andrew's. Like, I would love for just Andrew to be Sony's Spider-Man, and then utilize Tom Holland's Spider-Man every once in a while, the college trilogy. But hopefully that college trilogy will be much more down the line. If they're gonna do a Kraven the Hunter or whatever, that just bring back Tom a little later. Give us some other stuff for a while. Give us something honestly interesting in the MCU. And what I mean by that, before anybody gets pissed off about it, is like, let's build up the MCU a little bit stronger, because at this moment in time, when it comes to the movies, Spider-Man is like, that's it. That's the most exciting thing right now that I feel. Shang-Chi was there. Give us something. Eternals was there. I mean, I know, but it's not that same. I feel like right now the strongest part of the MCU is Tom Holland's Spider-Man. That's my particular situation right now. And then finally, they played the Doctor Strange trailer. I'm like, whatever about it. Like, it was cool. It was cool to see that. It definitely was cool to see the Doctor Strange. I have it if you want to check out the audio reaction. I haven't edited it yet, but it's on Patreon. I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to release that officially and down the line, and if I'm going to have to react to it. But it was great to see possibly a version of, I just call it the What If Doctor Strange. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be that version, but it's going to be like Nightmare or evil Doctor Strange, so to speak, right? So that was kind of cool to see that. I don't know if Wanda, I thought Wanda honestly was going to be more of the antagonist or so. So I'd rather see crazy Wanda, honestly, or like chaos magic Wanda. But yeah, then the Venom thing. It's funny because I don't really I like Tom Hardy. And I definitely feel like Tom Hardy is a Venom. But I don't like like he's not my Venom. And my Venom honestly hasn't been created yet. My Venom, the closest Venom I might have is probably going to be the PS4, PS5 Venom. So when seeing him show up in the end credits, I got excited, but then I immediately remembered why I don't really like because this dude is like, he's just a goober Cookie Monster sounding dude. Like, he legit got drunk the entire movie. When the entire movie was going on, this dude was just on an island getting drunk. Which doesn't really make sense anyways, because everybody that was teleported was supposed to be attracted to Peter Parker or Spider-Man because of some past situation, right? Which the only explanation I can give is the fact that this symbiote has had some sort of connection to a Peter Parker in the future, in the past, right? I guess when the symbiote first arrived to the planet in Venom 1, and or met a Peter Parker, met a Spider-Man in space, you know what I mean? Like why? Yeah. Anyways. But the fact that Venom, Tom Hardy's Venom, got drunk and cummed on the table, literally, and left us an MCU Venom, I guess that's a cool thing. I hope it plays out. I hope it plays out better than the stories that they've been pushing through on the Venom world. But if whatever they're going to do with the MCU symbiote, please treat it right. Please treat it right. I honestly just felt that was kind of a throwaway thing. I honestly don't, because that felt like 100% a Sony situation. They filmed it. Marvel has almost little to nothing to do with that. And if they, Marvel Studios has little to nothing to do with it. But if they do something with it, please do it right. That's all I can say. Just please do it right. If you're going to give Tom Holland his college trilogy, that suit better be on him in the near future. I mean, in one of those movies. Not anytime soon, but in the near future. And then we get some sort of Venom. I don't know. Introduce Harry Osborn. Introduce Harry Osborn down the line. That dude from Dune. People have been kind of talking about that. Like, what if that, whatever that dude's name is, shows up in the college trilogy and starts dating Mary Jane? That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. Oops. All right, I'm getting a call real quick. All right. I will. That's Sony on the line right now. That's Sony on the line right now. All right. Let me wrap this up. That's what I'm thinking. I love the movie. I thought it was dope. Oscorp could exist in the future. I don't know. All I'm just saying is that I would love to see something like that, and I hope down the line they do fix Venom. Those end credits were funny, but it was a little bit of a throwaway as well. Yeah, Timothy Chalamet, that thing. Overall, that's my review, guys. I loved everything about the movie. There were some parts that seemed like they got drawn out a little too long, but overall, I thought it was well done, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes down in the near future, down the line, like our reflection and how it's gonna go. Let me go ahead and give you a breakdown of my top, how it goes right now at this moment. Top Spider-Man movies, from 11 to number 1. 11, Let There Be Carnage, of course. Number 10, Venom. Number 9, Spider-Man 3. Number 8, The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 7, Spider-Man Far From Home. Honestly, I probably would push it a little bit further, but it's not like I just thought it was a really good starting off point for this new Spider-Man. Number 6, Spider-Man. Does not age as well as you expect. I just put it there because I put it above Far From Home only because it was the first. It was the first, and I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt there. All right. Number 5, Spider-Man 2. Again, does not age as well as I had expected. I just rewatched it. That movie is long, and believe it or not, there's a lot of subplots in there that you're like, oh, yo, Aunt May's selling the house and all this other stuff. It's like, all right, whatever, man. But I still keep it in high regard only because it, you know, it reinvented Dr. Octopus better than any sort of reinvention I've seen Sony. Like, I think it's the only one that Sony has done very, very well. Electro, in some ways, I think was still good, but I think the way they did Doc Octopus, they made Dr. Octopus awesome. So it's still high in regards. I'm sorry, that was Spider-Man Far From Home, number 7. So Spider-Man Homecoming is number 4, actually. I put it up there because I think it did a really good job of incorporating Spider-Man into the MCU. For me personally, it still gave me something different while still familiar, and it, you know, I didn't have to basically sit through young ass Peter the entire time, and I think it worked out really well. And the Vulture was really dope. In some ways, Spider-Man Homecoming, in some ways, mirrored a lot of what Spider-Man 2 was doing with the mentorship sort of role, following a mentor. That mentor becomes a villain. You know, getting advice. All there's things like that. Mixed with family, where Peter Parker and Spider-Man he has to choose in some ways. I thought they did a really good job. So I think Homecoming actually did a very good job of seamlessly incorporating Spider-Man into the MCU. So then number 3 might be the controversial pick, Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, personally, I thought it was great. Some subplots were pretty bad, but as someone who grew up essentially reading The Amazing Spider-Man, that was good. That was good. Reading The Amazing Spider-Man, it was always like that. There was always some sort of soapy, sappy drama going on in The Amazing Spider-Man. Black Cat possibly going down on a married Peter Parker while Mary Jane she was married, all this other stuff. So I thought that worked out really well, and my heart irks. You hear the music in the background, hearing that Hans Zimmer music, so good, so well done. Everything about that. I thought Andrew Garfield was by far the most solid Spider-Man of all of them. And that doesn't mean that Tom Holland won't get there. Tom Holland is definitely on his way, and in reflection, that opinion might change very, very soon. Especially after No Way Home, the choices he made. Number 2, No Way Home. No Way Home still, at this point, maybe it's the hype talking, but like I said, Tom Holland made a grown man decision, and I can't wait. Like, this was a great way, and interesting enough, it reflects a lot of this story of No Way Home reflected a lot of my number 1, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Being affected, seeing what other Spider-Man seeing how other Spider-Men were handling things when they leave your universe and moving through. I mean, Into the Spider-Verse was by far the perfect Spider-Man movie dealing with the multiverse. It may not be the perfect Spider-Man movie for like one Spider-Man, but dealing with the multiverse, nobody does it better. Nobody has done it better yet. DC has yet to pull this off so flawlessly, and introducing the multiverse with still a human aspect to it. The Spider-Verse still has done it so well, and I really appreciate that movie. I know that's kind of cheating because that's animated, but you know, is it really? I mean, it is the Spider-Verse animated movie that did greatly inspire what No Way Home was, and it does make me wonder what No Way Home might have been if Spider-Verse wasn't as popular as the Into the Spider-Verse wasn't as popular as it was. You know, what type of story was it? Just going to be Kraven the Hunter, and then was Doctor Strange going to be around? Was Doctor Strange basically going to eliminate? Would it essentially have been the same story? Kraven the Hunter gets sent in, is trying to kill everybody, kill everyone and everyone close to him, and so essentially Spider-Man goes to Doctor Strange at the end of the day and pulls a one more day situation, a day to remember type of thing, and they slowly reboot everything. Who knows? Maybe. But, you know, the combination of the influence of Into the Spider-Verse, the influence of One More Day, what follows after One More Day, I think No Way Home did a great job of really balancing everything out. It'll be interesting to see what happens as time goes by. Red Nation, stand up, speak up. Let me know what you guys think. Leave the comments below. This has been your spoiler review. I know it's busy with Christmas season and everything going on right now. The holidays, we got the season finale of Hawkeye as well. But I will try to have a spoiler discussion and chat on Twitch later this week. I'll do my best. Love, peace, chicken grease, and we'll talk to you next time.
Wow, nice suit. Strip it, then,